Hi, my name is Victoria. I am a 20-year-old who has hit the chronic illness jackpot. I have several difficult and unique chronic illnesses, which include lupus, ulcerative colitis, endometriosis, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, mast cell activation syndrome, something called HHT, which so few people have heard of, hereditary hemoglobin telangiectasia, and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Additionally, I have a GI issue going on that is not yet diagnosed, that they don't think is my colitis. This is obviously my first YouTube video, so I am quite nervous, as I'm sure you can tell. I do have a little bit of a script written down, mainly because I have extraordinarily thick brain fog, as many spoonies do, which, if you don't know, a spoonie is just somebody with a chronic illness. And I've had several concussions, so having everything written down was a relief with my anxiety, and just I figured to make things easier. I don't want this video to be like extremely long, so I'm not going to go into depth about my illnesses in this video. However, if you'd like to see a video down the road that talks about my illnesses, I'm more than willing to. Also, if you'd like to know something specific about any one of them, please just drop it below in the comments. I will read through all the comments as quickly as possible with my illnesses. I also have internal birth defects. I don't really know if they do anything because nobody's quite certain. Nobody's ever really seen my type of internal birth defects. I have a couple extra bones, extra vertebrae, an extra kidney, which most people think is pretty cool. No, I cannot donate it. I did ask, and the doctor said nobody wants that type of a headache, unfortunately. It functions kind of, sort of, not up to speed with the other one, and it could be the cause of my chronic kidney stones. So nobody wants that type of problem, unfortunately, so it's not something that can be donated. So as I'm sure you can tell, each of these illnesses have caused extreme chronic pain. Pain is something that I have struggled with daily for countless years. I would say it had intensified maybe about 5 years ago now after a chronic kidney infection, which lasted 4 months. Not really chronic, but a kidney infection that just didn't go away. And after that, my pain levels had skyrocketed. There have been many seasons with my health that I have went through pain at a 9 each day. At some point in the day, I would spike up to a 9. So it has been pretty unbearable many times. I am never pain-free by any means, and I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. I am not cured myself. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm simply sharing what has worked for me. Obviously, I do advise that you speak to your healthcare team, whether that be your doctor, your nurse, whoever, somebody with an MD, somebody who has professional experience, and also whoever's in your support team. For me, I discuss everything with my mom and a couple of close chronic illness friends, and I decide, okay, what is the best thing for me to try next? My suggestions are hopefully a little bit more outside of the box. A lot of the YouTube videos I've seen when I was looking through for more ideas, they were a lot of the same type of videos with the same types of suggestions. So I wanted to make something that was a little bit more outside of the box. So hopefully you'll get new tips in this video. So my body is quite different, as you can tell from my list of illnesses, therefore my tips are quite different. So let's just get started, like I said, so that the video doesn't end up being super long. Alright, so before you roll your eyes, because my first tip is extremely basic, just hear me out, it is a little bit different than your typical. So I recommend, of course, like every spoonie, a heating pad. Okay, again, before you roll your eyes, hear me out. This one is cordless. So this is something that I do suggest that you invest in if you're spending time in the car, or you don't want to be attached to the wall for whatever reason. I mean, extension cords are great, but you can only go so far. This takes about 15 minutes to heat up to get it to its full potential. I like it as pretty much as hot as possible, but that's me. So if you want it a little bit cooler, which I'm sure many people would, it doesn't need to be charged quite as long. It lasts me about 2 to 2.5 hours. Definitely not what the package says, which is, 7 to 8. Not by any means. But it gets me to the doctor when I need to, because I travel quite far for the doctor. And needless to say, I'm usually in pain going to the doctor. So it has been a huge help for me. So a lot of people don't talk about milk thistle, which this I just get at Walmart. Very, very inexpensive. About $5 every 3 months, I want to say. So it's a 90-day supply. I only take one a day. It's actually something that is very good for individuals who are on medication. Again, check with your doctor. For me in particular, with my lupus, and we're not sure if there's something else going on, my liver enzymes will spike randomly, extremely randomly. They can go up to my near 900. Yours should be in the 30s. Maybe around 37 is usually the higher end. So near 900 is not a good thing. With this though, I have noticed in several other things that I did add my enzymes stay at bay where they're supposed to be. In addition though, there are other things that this is good for, which I need notes for this part. It's good for anti-inflammatory, it's a good antioxidant, good for brain health, good for brain fog, and good for bone health. So, the next one I have is turmeric, which, yeah, there we go. This is also from Walmart. Turmeric is a little bit more pricey. It is around $11, I want to say. Don't quote me on that. Again, from Walmart. This one in particular has 60 capsules, so it's only like a 30-day supply, but it is helpful, so I do recommend it. We all know that medications and everything involved with chronic illness is quite pricey. So, it's a spice that I am sure most of you have heard of. It's from Mediterranean countries. I really was hesitant to try this supplement, to be perfectly honest. My nurse had recommended it so many times. I worked very closely with her. She's always at my house. She just kept recommending it. I'm like, you know what? It can thin your blood. I'm really not sure that's an option for me with my HHT. And the EDS, I can bleed out of nowhere and bleed quite a lot. So I was extremely hesitant, but I got to the point with the pain and tapering off prednisone, which is a whole different story, that I got to the point I needed to try. I was, of course, nervous that I would also be allergic with my mast cell. Thankfully, it has not affected my bleeding issues whatsoever, and I am not allergic. This particular one by this brand, I actually break down a lot easier than the other tablets, which were less expensive, but you got to go with what works, unfortunately, even if it is a little bit more pricey. So, according to WebMD, it helps with, which is including but not limited to, arthritis, heartburn. It's an anti-inflammatory again, which most of us have a lot of inflammation, irritable bowel syndrome, high cholesterol, and allergies and mast cell issues. So there's one other supplement that I recommend, and I'm just going to briefly go over this, even shorter kind of than the other ones, because there is so much information I have on this that it's actually slightly easier for me to do this more one-on-one, because I have so much information. I don't want to bore people who don't want the information, so I'm kind of doing an umbrella with this. So please just let me know in the comments if you want more information about this. This is part of it. It is my pink drink, which I usually drink in the morning. This morning I did not drink it yet, so it'll be a little bit later, which is okay. So this has been developed, which I found out and was very impressed because I didn't know this when I started. It was developed by not only doctors and scientists who are from Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Baylor, which I'm hoping I'm saying right because I'm not as familiar with them, a variety of endocrinologists, immunologists, cardiologists, and others who've worked together to create this system. that I absolutely love. Again, I was very hesitant. However, I'd seen another lupus friend and she had these amazing results. And I got to the point, again, with the tapering and the pain, what did I have to lose? I could get 60 days of the supplies and then get my money back if needed, if it didn't work out. Thankfully, it did work out for me. And I've had such improvements, and it's pretty crazy because I post on Facebook all these contradicting things. I feel like half my health is getting 20 times better, and then the other half I'm getting worse, but that just comes with having multiple illnesses. So I have been succeeding in everything but my GI tract recently, and this has been such a huge part of it. I mean, it's a great tool for overall health and well-being. A lot of healthy people are on it, and even more, of course, chronic illness people are on it. So I've been on it about 2 to 3 months. My time frames are probably a little bit off. So I've seen improvements with my pain levels. They have went down drastically, which I was so thrilled with. Instead of, peaking to that 9 daily, if I'm getting to a higher level, it's usually like a 7 to 8, and that's a really bad day. On a good day, I'm actually getting down to a 4, which is pretty impressive for me because I used to never get below a 6. So a typical day, I'm going 4 to 7, which is fantastic. So this has helped me personally with my energy, sleep, less inflammation, which you see on your labs. I'm able to walk longer. With my POTS, I've struggled with walking down the road and just exercise in general. So that has been a huge treat and blessing for me. I have less brain fog and my mast cell is better, just to name a few things. So with mast cell, you have countless allergies, and I of course do. I've developed allergic reactions to basically every topical cream out there that you can get at Walmart. After months of searching, I finally found 2 that I would recommend and actually work, which are over here. The one is the AleoVerita, which I am probably saying that incorrect, thermal lotion. So hopefully you can kind of see it. It's sideways and it's written 2 different ways. This cream I really like because it is natural. I'm not allergic, which is great. And it also warms up on contact with the skin, which really, personally, it helps me. I don't like things that get cold. I'm not a fan of biofreeze. When I did tolerate it, don't tolerate that anymore either. So it's been a huge help. The other one I use is by Jade Bloom. This is just their Soothe Rub. Again, all natural. It's made with essential oils, which leads me into my next tip, which are essential oils. I was allergic to all the bigger brands. The Young Living, I didn't tolerate. doTERRA, I didn't tolerate either. So I pretty much thought there was no hope for me with oils. Then I discovered Jade Bloom. The only reason I decided to try them is they had very, very tiny sample bottles, which I actually have here instead of me doing it that way. I can just show you. These very itty bitty bottles, which are reasonably priced. They're less expensive than, obviously bigger bottles from bigger companies and whatnot. So these have been definitely, again, life-changing for me. And the combination of everything that I use, definitely I'm functioning so much better. So I really like that they are more reasonably priced. I love that they have online courses that you can take for free and earn free oils. So, I mean, I'm all for free stuff, honestly, because, like I said, chronic illness is quite expensive. So don't mind me, I just had a couple that I wanted to show you. I'm taking them out. This is their Focus Blend, which I find is helpful with, again, brain fog. They have something, again, called Soothe, which is like the cream. This is good, they say, for muscle pains, aches. Again, nothing's 100%. It's not going to get rid of your pain. The best it's going to do is help it a little bit. I use the Allergy Ease in an attempt to help with my mast cell, and frankincense. Those are just a couple of the ones I use, and of course, lavender. So far, I've not been allergic to any of their products whatsoever. So I don't know what they do different, but they do something different. So, a lot of people, this is a tip that you've heard probably a few times, CBD oil. CBD oil is great, or if you can get your card for medical marijuana, it's an easy process. So I would encourage that if that's something that's feasible for you. The biggest drawback is it is extremely expensive, whether you're buying over the counter or you're buying it with your card. It is very expensive. So be prepared to spend a few $100s at a clip for maybe a month's supplies. So it's really not something that everybody can keep in their chronic illness toolkit, you know, regularly. It does get very costly on top of medical bills. So, and last but not least, my actual tip like this is a weighted blanket. Don't mind me moving. Weighted blanket I've only had for a couple months. I've seen it does help some, not always like 100%, doesn't always work for me each time I use it, but it does help a little bit, and I know it does help a ton of other people that I know, so I did want to share it. So it's really great for insomnia, anxiety, autism, nervous system disorders, circulation, and of course chronic pain. So in wrapping up, I just wanted to give you a few other reminders, because I'm sure you've heard all these before. Make sure you do what your body needs in order to keep your pain levels down, especially with, you know, the opioid crisis. It's even more important to be, you know, mindful of keeping your pain levels down and doing what you have to. Because even if you're going to go to the ER, there's a good chance you're not going to get pain medicine even if you need it. Every state's different, every ER is different, every doctor is very, very different. So be mindful of that a little bit. I'm not saying don't go to the ER by any means, because I've been there myself. So it's just a reminder with that whole mess. Take your meds on time, pace yourself, rest. Find exercises that fit your body. Do not do what other people tell you to do with exercise. If you don't tolerate the yoga, don't do the yoga. If you can't walk, don't walk. Look up stuff on YouTube. That's what I finally did. I finally found exercises for EDS and POTS, which made my life so much better because I could tolerate my exercises. It was very frustrating when you can't. Eat the foods that make you feel the best. And of course, keep hydrated. I found when I am chronically dehydrated. So when I don't drink and I don't get bags of saline, I feel terrible and my pain goes up. So don't neglect self-care, of course. Create a support system. Find somebody to talk to when you need to. Don't keep it bottled up, because anxiety causes more pain. Keep those stress levels down, as we all know and we're always told. Unfortunately, that does not mean that you can't communicate with your doctor. I know they're a huge source of stress. So do things that you enjoy and things that help you to de-stress, you know. Keep encouragement on hand, I really recommend too, because there are times that, you know, you are going to feel depressed or sad, upset, and sometimes just having those like on a card or in a journal, it's nice just to look through them. I also recommend that you practice some gratitude. Write down 1 or 2 things you're thankful for every day. It really does make a little bit of a difference, at least in your mindset, which can affect your health. I'm not, by any means, I'm not one of those people who say that it is 100%. It is not causing all your pain, in my opinion. But I do recommend, of course, the positive mindset. It does help, and it does make it a lot easier to get through all of the pain and the painful moments. So, this did go long, which I had anticipated it being pretty long. So I really hope that this did provide you with some tips to manage your pain, that you're able to take 1 or 2 of these tips, that they're brand new to you, and that you use them and are able to add them to your chronic illness toolkit, and that you can have a better handle, even a little bit, on your chronic pain. I also run a Facebook page called Chronically Hopeful, which I forgot to mention, and a blog, so this channel will be a little bit of an extension of it. I don't know how often I'll post videos because my health is extraordinarily unpredictable. So, but if you would like to see a particular video, please drop it in the comments. Let me know. I'm more than willing to look at everything and see what's feasible and do it as soon as possible. I really hope that you have an amazing day. Sending spoons, prayers, and hugs.